This is Saida Garrett, and I'm tuned in to Intro to Info with my girl Mikeisha.
Greetings, greetings, greetings. It's the Flowist is here, and I'm tuned into Intro to Info with my girl Mikeisha. All love, always.
Well, good evening, beautiful people, and welcome to today's episode of Intro to Info. I'm Mikeisha, your host, broadcasting live from Upper Marlboro, Maryland. Joined with me is Queen of Hearts and Tam. And today, for the first time since us being on the J King Network on YouTube and StreamYard, we have our very first special guest. This is a momentous occasion, and this is particularly special to me because I'm going to tell you all something. When you take yourself seriously, others begin to take you seriously. My parents were vacationing with their church friends in New Jersey, and they found a phenomenal woman who we're going to interview in just a few moments. And they called me and they said, "Hey, Key, we think we got somebody for you." And I said, "Send her my way." Fast forward, her daughter attends Howard, so you know that was meant to be. And then we talked and vibed. I said, I can't wait to bring her on the show. She calls herself a Renaissance woman, and her name is Crystal HINES. And we welcome her to today's episode of Intro to Info. Crystal, welcome. Thank you so much for being our guest on this evening. How are you?
I'm doing well. It is my pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Now, see, Crystal and I have some commonalities because we both work in academia. Crystal's a teacher. She's a Renaissance woman means you do many things, right? So she's a teacher. She's a storytelling artist, a published poet, liturgical dancer, and theater manager. And so when you say Renaissance woman, is that all this encompasses, Crystal? Break down what you mean when you call yourself a Renaissance woman.
I mean, I use all of my abilities. I try to do the arts in many different facets. Teaching is an art to me. Poetry, storytelling arts, reenacting Harriet Tubman, and moving through liturgical dance. As a director of my church, I really have been doing that for some time now, about 20 years. So it's just many things and just kind of blending those things together to make my gifts come out to fruition and allowing other people to really glean from them, and also myself gleaning from other artists as well and creatives.
It's beautiful. But when you said all of that, it makes me think that you're very busy. Is that so?
I like to think that I'm productive. I am busy at times, but there's been a season like currently that I've been able to just really rest and have respite. So yes and no. There's times when I'm really busy and there's times when really God gives me a chance to just rest. So this is a season of rest right now. I'm on spring break.
Which is absolutely necessary. Queen of Hearts, I think you have something to say. Go ahead.
No, I mean, hearing that she do poetry and she write poetry, I wanted to know at what time do your inspiration or your creative thoughts start flowing to come up with a piece whenever you write some poetry?
Actually, I could be anywhere on a bus. I could just be like sitting at my desk at school on a break. It really just comes. Sometimes I wake up with dreams, and I'll just write it and try to get everything out that I can remember, and then I'll go back to that piece. So currently I'm working on a piece, and it's just based on being Black in America. So there's some work to be done on it, but it's just the current events of life, you know.
Hmm. And I hate to put you on the spot, but I would love to hear one of your favorite pieces, if you don't mind citing it for all of us.
Oh, right now, I have to read it, but it's my story is that I reenact Harriet Tubman, and I have one. I would have to read it though, so give me a moment. Let's go back. Let's run that back in a few minutes. Okay, is that okay?
Okay, that's fine.
Okay.
And just while we're talking about the Harriet Tubman museum that you work at part time, I know that you shared with us a video, but I definitely want to delve into what it is exactly you do at this museum, and because this is where my parents and their best friends met you, and so it's very important. And we're going to delve into all of the things that you do, but let's start there because that's very important, especially on the heels of Black History Month and Women's History Month. Harriet Tubman is a prominent figure, and her name resounds, and we all need to just speak her name because we stand on her shoulders.
Absolutely. So what I do at the Harriet Tubman Museum of Cape May, I am an ambassador. We call ourselves ambassadors, but like a tour guide. But instead of strictly telling the story, we had creative liberties that we were able to really digest the information and then put it out to the public in a way that we felt comfortable. And I decided, now I'm a phys ed teacher, and I'm also I've been teaching for 20 plus years. So I decided that if I'm going to teach and lecture this information, I need to make it something that people could move with and interact with. Many times when I first started, I began speaking the information, and I felt that they were looking like they were bored. So I started to get people to interact with me, and I would sing with them, or they would sing, I'm sorry, along with me, Negro spirituals. Then once the light bulb went off, I realized they like that. Okay, let's do something else. How about they get out their seats and I tell them the story through their activities? So if I'm going to have the story of Harriet Tubman, I share where she's going, where she's coming from, and where she's going. And I go through the journey to freedom by way of having my parents, which your parents actually played my parents, Mikeisha, when they were there. I had the role of a pastor where she stopped. I had the role of Quakers where she also stopped. Um, and I also had abolitionists and Mr. William Still, who was the father of the Underground Railroad. So all of these people, whether they are looking my skin tone or looking like me, or they don't look like me, they all get to play the role, whether it be children or adults. And as they're playing the role, they're internalizing the significance of those roles and what they really meant on the Underground Railroad. And so I really believe that I don't embellish. I try to tell the historical facts, but because of that, people feel it. And we sing along with each other. We do all of those things, but I tell the factual information and they feel it and they glean from that.
What a way to involve your audience. That's one way that they will not forget that experience, as opposed to, and I'll tell you, Crystal, that's one. Yeah, if you talk at people continually, yeah, you're going to lose them, especially intellects, because they need to be involved and feel like they're a part of that. So I think that was a very creative way to get them just involved and to make them remember you as well as Harriet Tubman's story. I'm very interested because you're someone who would know, because I feel like there are myths and truths about Harriet Tubman. May you please tell us 2 to 3 things that us as Black women and listeners in general would be impressed or surprised by?
That she was the first female general in the Civil War. That to me is like a huge fact that a lot of people might miss. And she was called to be a part of the Civil War because she knew the ways of the land so well. And she also had the trust of the Southerners. So she was able to go back, and it was unexpected. She went to South Carolina, Combahee River, and then she saved, well, she and her troops that she trained in PA, they actually trained, and then she came and worked through where they saved 700 enslaved Africans who were enslaved on the plantations. That's a huge fact. Then also that she went to Canada during the Fugitive Slave Act in 1851. She went to Canada so she could help save other people when there was the Fugitive Slave Act basically would allow the enslavers to help to come back and pick up people in the North, even if they were not their own slaves. And then they would capture them and work them, of course, to death. So she was helping to save them, taking them to Canada and hiding them out there until she was able to take them back to New York, where her, do you know that she had a senior center, basically a house for the aged, and those that were veterans of war, they were homeless African Americans, and then she would build up this basically aged house, house for the aged, I'm sorry, and she would house those homeless vets and those that were older, those that were injured from war, and also her parents. She saved them as well. So it took some time, but she developed all of these things, and people just don't know that piece of her. They just know of her saving the people on the Underground Railroad, but thereafter she was still working on her missions.
Wow. Somebody that's
Another thing, I have to say this. Another thing is she was a spy, but she was also a naturalist. So I believe that when I read the literature, I believe that her father saw something in her because he was teaching her the ways of the land at a very young age. So he was teaching her how to read the trees, how to read the stars, how to go through without being caught, really. And as she was doing these things, I mean, learning how to pick up certain leaves and rub them together using the clay from the land and putting it together so that she can make something to clean out the wounds as she was going through. So many of those things she learned when she was very young, and she kept those things with her as she was growing and going into the new missions. She didn't start her missions until she was like 22, 23. Her first trip was when she was about that age.
wow. Someone that's
Go ahead.
yeah. I just wanted to read the comment. One of the young ladies that's watching, I think it's A Journey by Design. She said, "Oh, that was a great idea when you mentioned the interaction at the museum. How you have everybody interacting when you go through the different pieces." And she also stated, "Wow, she didn't know that about Harriet Tubman." So you shared some valuable historical information that we ourselves did not even know. 24. 24 is young and
Yeah.
very, yes.
And many people don't know that she sacrificed, of course, her love interest, which was John Tubman. That's where she carried the name. But when she went back, the first mission, as I read, it states that he was actually remarried when she went back because he believed she died.
Oh,
So remember, her trips are taking about 6 months to a year for her journey to go to, and where she ends up from Cambridge all the way to PA. But when she's coming back, she's expecting to find her love interest, her husband at the time, and bring him with her. And that was not the case. So then she believed that it was her mission from God to keep going. And that's where she continued, even though she was devastated,
Wow.
she sounded like a tracker. So he must have taught her some of their Indian roots or African roots of, like you say, how to live from the land, how to be a herbalist, to use holistic, teaching and, healings and things of that. And everything that I'm hearing, it sounds just like a tracker from an Indian tribe or African tribe that was passed down to her.
Absolutely. She's coming from West African roots. Her grandmother, whose name is documented as Modesty, her maternal grandmother was actually owned on the same plantation land as she was, and she she learned, her mother Harriet Green taught her. So then for modesty, then Harriet Green teaching, of course, her daughter, and then as you know, her real name is Araminta. So Minty is her nickname. Minty was learning all these things growing up, but then on top of it, her dad was like, "Oh, she's the feisty one. She gonna be the one that's gonna run. She gonna do some things. We gotta teach her young." That's how I envision it. You know, that's my own, you know, passion coming through, because I'm thinking like you have to do some inference, you know, as you're reading some of this literature as well. But yeah, I believe that she was the feisty one.
And Crystal, she lived a long time, correct?
Yeah, she was about 91. It's documented, like she was about 91 when she passed. Yeah. And Auburn, and it was like pneumonia or something that, you know, natural causes, of course, but you know, it wasn't anyone who killed her or found her or anything like that. So that's a long life, especially for an enslaved woman who really got to her own freedom. No one gave her freedom. She had to fight for it. And so through all of that, to live until you're 91, yes, it's amazing.
And it had to take so much audaciousness and bravery to continue to go back, because some people would have stopped at themselves. I'm
Right.
free. I'm gone. You guys are on your own.
Right.
Kept going back. It's a lesson in, you know, serving and being there for others, and it's not all about you.
Yes.
And that is wonderful. Wham Tam, are you learning anything? Hopefully safe.
All right, Firebird, don't you start now. Yes, I am learning. Crystal, thank you so much for being here. This is great. Interaction
Absolutely.
is always good. And I was listening to you and it just kind of made me, I always love what I call full circle moments, and listening about how she was a part of the war. And I think people are always like, you know, I want a seat at the table. You know, we've always been there. Mm-hmm. We are brilliant. We're resilient. And Black women have been for centuries. So it's not a coincidence that we are always leading the show in some capacity. So I applaud you for doing the reenactments and really getting people to understand and try to put yourself in those times, to fully embrace what happened, you know what I mean? And how powerful it was to be able to, like you said, be a naturalist, move through those trees and forests and late nights, and you know what I'm saying? Like, just that in itself is a skill.
Yeah. I can't imagine.
Right. I always say, when people be like, could you imagine if you were a slave? And absolutely not. I would have been had a leg, arm, something cut off, because no.
And it's, you know, it's our dispensation, you know, like what we are built for is where we are right now, right? So our timing is where we're supposed to be. But in her dispensation, if she wasn't a fighter, we wouldn't be here. A lot of us wouldn't be here, because there were so many people that were left behind or didn't realize the mentality that was where they had to stay. They thought they had to stay. And so for her to be as progressive as she was, it's like remarkable. And for her to continue to go back and forth, like you said, I mean, that is just honorable work. Honorable work.
In the cold, in the rain, in the heat. I mean, this generation now, they cry if they have to go outside and walk less than a mile. My ankles, my back, my this, my that. I'm thirsty. They couldn't have made it. You would have had to say, listen, you go over there in that bush. You should be quiet now and don't move. I got to leave you, because we going to the high road. They would have got left. I'm sorry. Hopefully we never have to go back to that again, because there's going to be a lot of people.
So true.
Gone.
And I know Crystal can speak to that as well, Queen of Hearts. When you just mentioned how these young people get tired so quickly, you can speak to that as a PE teacher, because I know I see it.
I'm trying not. Hold on, Key. I'm trying not to laugh, and if y'all see me smiling, I'm not laughing at what y'all saying. But this young lady now was saying, yes, she would have been left behind because she had flat feet, and she wouldn't have made it.
By the way, that's my friend Tawaya. Tawaya, thank you so much for listening. You so silly. Thank you.
Oh my. Oh my. I don't think I would have made it myself. I'd say, oh wow, I'm trekking it a little bit, here and there, because I'm without a car. In New Jersey, it's different. When you don't have a car, it's heard of, so I'm like busing or catching a bus, and I'm like, wow, this is different for me, and I'm not going to complain. I am not going to complain, because I know through the research in my brain, I'm thinking, now we did a reenactment walk. I forgot to say that. We did a portion of a reenactment walk with a walking artist named Ken Johnston. Shout out to Ken Johnston. He did this walk where he started at our museum, and then he went all the way up to what is known as Timbuktu, New Jersey. So as he's going up there, every weekend, he's like, y'all come join me. So a portion of us, a portion of people came and joined him. And I'm like, walking out there, and I was like, oh, this is night. This is day. This is, like you said, Queen of Hearts, heat, rain, every type of, weather. And so I'm thinking about this. And as I'm taking the journey and looking at all these historic landmarks, where they landed, where they stepped, where they maybe the churches that they slept at, I'm like, whoa, this is intense. This is I cried. I mean, I wept, because these are our ancestors, so it's more than just the reenactment at the museum. It's like I had to live through the pieces of that so I could really recite her and tell her story in a genuine capacity.
Yeah, wow. You're a good one to do it. And I know that we do have a video that you shared with our fabulous producer, Snitchy Smurf. Shout out to Snitchy Smurf. Snitchy Smurf, can we cue the video right now?
Can we play the audio or no audio?
Y'all not able to enjoy the audio?
I can't hear anything.
No.
Okay, earlier we were able to hear it. Of course, my apologies, and let me see what I can do. So our sister Mikeisha, were you able to hear the audio? Probably not.
No.
All right. StreamYard, we love StreamYard, and it does wonderful things for us. And then, it does things like this. Let's see what I can do. I'll be right back.
Awesome.
Mikeisha, too, when she took that journey, if I had to take that journey, or if I was back then living during that time, I most definitely, with these allergies, I would have left her, hey, lady, you don't go with us. Get over there in that corner, because you're going to give us some. All this sneezing and coughing with that pollen and stuff, baby, and that upper body strength, that we're not physically fit to climb those mountains.
Yeah.
You see how they climb that mountain to get over to another region or another area? They didn't have no bungee cords and all the other stuff. They was pulling with their hand and their feet, and using each other as ladders. I'm just hearing you telling this story, and like you say, visualizing what they went through to get the freedom, crossing over that big lake,
Yes.
And no Moses to separate the sea, or Jesus, they had to go through that water, and it, whew, that's a lot. A lot. A lot.
It
And
is.
for people to say, oh, they didn't do nothing for us, why we still remembering them? They need to have a reality check.
I'd say absolutely. I so agree. Um, the other piece of it is, they were losing so much of themselves by sacrificing those journeys, because remember, they're leaving their family members behind. They could have been married, they could have children, and they're like, wait a second, if I get to freedom, I may be able to bring some folks with me. But if I don't make it, I have nothing to show, So they were fighting not only for themselves, but also knowing that they could come back and get other people, possibly, you know. And that was probably the driving force, I would
Snitchy
think.
Smurf said we'll try the video. She said we'll try the video again. So let's try this video again.
My name is Crystal Hines, and I work at the Middle Township Public Schools. I'm an elementary teacher, physical education teacher, and I, on my weekends, I spend time at the Harriet Tubman Museum as an ambassador, and I tell the story of the African American of Cape May. Not only that, I tell the story of Harriet Tubman and the legacy of Harriet Tubman, and then I also tell a lot of history in the city of Cape May of the people that were historians and people that once lived here. So being reared by my stepfather since I was 2 years old, and learning that he was a descendant or is a descendant of William Still. Then finding out that we could go to the Every Unit and meet some of the Stills, that excited me. We have some pictures still, and I still have them to this day, of some of the descendants of William Still. William Still was the father of my mother, and William Still happened to be a clerk, a janitor, and he did transcription of the enslaved Africans who would come on the journey of the Railroad. And as they were going on the journey, he would uncover what they had went through, what their abuse had been, who their slave master was, and anytime they would be employed and what type of work they would do. He documented all of that. Actually, this building was supposed to be a parking lot. It ended up being the Harriet Tubman Museum because the Macedonia Baptist Church used this building as a residence, and they didn't want to discard the building. It had rich history and legacy here, but they also knew that Harriet Tubman worked here in Cape May under fake names, and because of that, they wanted to make sure that they honored her for her work, and they decided that they were going to name it Harriet Tubman. Even though it had people here and the African American the population here, they continued researching and gave a lot of documents and details about Harriet Tubman. So that's my work. That's what I do, and I'm excited to be able to share still and continue the journey. And Dr. Hunter has since passed. He left a mark with me, and since I've met another wonderful man, Dr. Ralph Hunter, who founded the African American Museum in Atlantic City, Newtonville, New Jersey, and he has been my mentor since I met him about 4 years ago. So he's amazing. So people in the audience sometimes literally crying because they do feel it and they sit with it. And it's a safe space. We do our cleansing breaths, and we conclude with cleansing breaths. I think that's very important. I implemented that because it's a hard topic, but I also want them to know the facts. I don't want them to leave a museum, any museum, and not know the facts. Growing up, being an adult, raising my own child, and understanding colorism, racism, knowing that how passionate I am about what I look and how I appear to others in spaces that I go into, which are predominantly white. I hold myself to a high standard, but I wanted to make sure that I was always telling the story of my ancestors, or letting people hear my version of the story. And I got help from my auntie. She would tell me about some of the older businesses, and I would start to learn about our own history. She would, yeah, this was African American. Oh, that laundromat, that's owned by such and such, or that dry cleaners. Yeah, that was owned by African American family. All African American families did not know that growing up. My family always gave us books about ourselves, about people that look like us. They always gave us American history, but they also made sure that we knew where we came from. Travel. I actually have been a show of my own, but it's called the Harriet Tubman Experience because I'm sharing what I've learned, I've researched, and I've been able to curate it in a way that makes it again palatable, but also it's very showy. So there's a lot of props, there's quilts, there's caftans, African headdresses, beads, and the jewelry, as well as myself. I bring it all together. Well, if I have the opportunity to share it, it's my job, it's my duty as an educator. I believe that we should all be lifelong learners, and if there's something that maybe we have a question or we don't really know for sure the facts, we should research them for ourselves. But if you don't, there are people like me who love to do that research and find somebody like myself or someone that would enjoy to do that research and seek it out. I think there are many people that seek out museums and they find the research and they say, wait, I want to learn more about that. If I can make it fun and not just fun, but factual, palatable, and also fun, that's what makes people want to keep coming into the museums.
Sweet love, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. Look over Jordan and what did I see? Coming for to carry me home. A band of angels coming after me, coming for to carry me home. If you get there before I do, coming for to carry me home. Tell all my friends I'm coming to, coming for to carry me home.
That's what I do.
We got to see you in action right there. That was amazing.
Yeah, thank you.
That was.
I'm gonna
thank you for sharing that wonderful video with us.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm gonna. I have a poem. I do have a poem, so I'm gonna recite a poem called "For Harriet." I wrote this as I was. Well, I believe the Lord gave this to me as I was preparing for my first show outside of the museum. And so as soon as I thought, I was like, oh, what am I going to say to the people? This poem came to me. So I'm going to read it. And if I could just, I'm going to come off of the screen a little bit, just so I could read it off the computer. Is that okay? All right. Certainly. It is called "For Harriet." I danced between slavery and freedom. Though thin lines they were, are, maybe my burden just enlightened when I traveled this far. My burden, surely my burden, illuminated while I look at these scars, pushing through and pulling from, simultaneously tearing the veil of those who could not envision what was to come. I danced between slavery and freedom. I danced between slavery and freedom, not playing and toying with it at all. I was simply placed there and answered the call. I moved quickly. Some say they did not see me at all, but my face was always known. His name was Moses, and here I am in the master zone. They likened me to him. I tried to stop the ride many times, but at this point, it was like I was too well known. So God pushes me on, and I answer. I answer. Though my body weak, never goes my mind, never goes my soul. Though I am short in stature, always huge in heart. I may not have much money, but my daddy gave me a good start. I knew how to pull from the ground, search out my seed. My mama taught me that, and spread it around, not ever on empty. My spirit stayed full, replenished and restored. Every time I heard my heart beat, every time I knew the Lord spoke to me, every time I saw the vision He showed me, every time after waking I could move my feet, step on new soil, territory is getting larger. I knew that long walks and talks with my Father got me through that. The sky, I seize it. The air, I breathe it. My lungs full to capacity. My skin senses all. The earth responds to thee. I am his earthen vessel. And when the Spirit says move, we move. Everybody say it with me. When the Spirit says move, we move. Come on.
We move.
When the
We
Spirit
move.
move, we move. When the
Mm-hmm.
Spirit says
Force
move,
this move. You know.
Mm-hmm.
follow me too. For the God I serve shows me freedom, and I choose no longer to dance between these lines of being a slave and free. I have unbraided my hair. He has liberated my heart. I am alive and living through a brand new start. Freedom is not free, but my years of chasing it makes my freedom freeing. I am no one's slave. I am free. The end.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Powerful, powerful. Oh my goodness.
Thank you. That is my first published piece.
And
Was,
where we can find it at is on Amazon or no?
it's actually in a periodical called The Centennial of Ocean City. But I'll get it to you. I'll get you a copy of that.
Mikeisha. She the one that love to read. I like to watch the videos.
Thank
I'll get that.
That's right. That is right. I
Yes.
do like to read, and Queen likes to watch the videos. So
Yes.
it's good. So, I want to definitely thank you again for all it is that you do to general in your role at the museum, as well as your role as a teacher. Thank you for, just influencing young minds and keeping them,
Thank you.
keeping your role as a teacher, and how that experience has been for you. How what what's it like? Because it's very gratifying to me. I hope that
Oh,
it's gratifying to you.
I absolutely adore my students. They just have this energy that you could tell they're really captivated, by what I'm giving, what I'm offering to them. Like we're doing gymnastics right now, and the kids, even I had some of the young boys kind of moaning and groaning. I don't want to do gymnastics. When I tell you, we did a fitness lesson, gymnastics included, and they were flipping and tumbling and doing all the great things, and I'm like, you can do it, so it feeds me. It feeds me in that way. The children are so special and impressionable, and I feel like honored to be able to have that opportunity to serve in that way. But also teaching in a capacity of being an African American woman, being able to teach in a school that is not all African American children, and I'm one of the only African American teachers there. So to see the students be not just that they glean from me, but they are able to look up to somebody that does not quite look like them. And this world that we live in, it is vital for them to not only go home and see what they look like, but also come to many spaces and see diversity. And so it impresses me that they have a love for me, and it's not because of my skin tone or anything like that. It's because they genuinely just love me. And so kids will be honest with you. Kids are so honest, and sometimes to a fault. They'll tell you, oh, I don't like that. No, I'm not doing that. If I'm doing a certain skill that they don't like, they'll straight up tell me. So yeah, I just love being around kids. I love it. And I'm honored to be able to have that opportunity to be impressionable with them.
And what's the age range or the grade?
3rd through 5th right now.
Oh,
Yeah.
busy. Busybody.
Yes.
So you really have to keep them captivated with material to keep them engaged, to pay attention. When they get antsy, they want to run around. You be like, wait a minute, not yet.
Yes. And you know, the funny thing is I taught in middle school and I loved it. I taught in high school,
Really?
loved it. I mean, I thought the 3rd through 5th graders were going to eat me alive because I couldn't imagine being around these younger kids. And I was always talking, you know, regular talk to the kids that were older. And I didn't have to like baby anything down or water it down, you know, in my own mind. But God changed that whole perspective for me. I've been working with the younger kids for the last 4 years, and I love it. I mean, it's, to me, my mindset had to expand a bit because you have to really show them exactly what you mean. You can't just say it. And so for phys ed, you know, we have students that are playing AAU or travel sports and things like that, and they're really advanced in their skill sets. But then we have students that have never played a sport in their lives. So it goes from that, you know, that structure and changing up the perspective on how you're teaching. And so being able to instruct in either way is a beautiful thing. But to know that I feel like my rapport with the students has grown so much. And for my teaching skill set, I believe I'm a master teacher at this point, being in for 22 years and just knowing my students and knowing the range of my students that I've had. I still have students come up to me, you know, that are like, Miss Hines, how you doing, Miss Hines? Oh, I miss you. I wish I had you still. And so that type of stuff really, you know, feeds my heart.
They see your energy and your persona just being here with
You
you
know,
for the
Crystal, when you
past,
said
what?
you're a master teacher, it takes 10,000 hours to master that. So go ahead, Queen of Hearts. I'm sorry.
Oh no, I was just saying they gravitate to her energy and her luminous because you're illuminated just from us watching you here for the past 20, 30 some minutes. They can feel that, they can sense that. And you're not one of coming there like a dictator. Da, 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 da. You know,
Right.
you're not commanding them or drilling them. You actually talking to them, not talking down to them. You know, you interacting, and kids thrive off of that. But when people come in there and they come in there with authority, they stop on their feet, and you better do this. They look at you like, man, like that song say, "Nuck if you buck, I'm gonna buck back at you if you buck at
Yeah,
me."
so
So
true.
yeah, you have to
It's a
play
hard lesson.
them, you know, through the interaction, and that's why they love you.
Yeah, thank you. It's a hard
Hmm.
lesson to you know, teach students that are really kind of coming back at you. I worked in many different school districts and I even worked in a prison, and I just learned real quick. And I was working at the prison when I was like 25. I didn't know anything, and I learned real quick because I learned to treat people as people. And no matter what mistakes they made and no matter how they looked, no matter how I believe they perceive me, I treat them as people because that's what I was always taught. And it's very imperative that we treat people as people and with respect, you know. It's really an honorable thing to do. And so I believe that even as children, they are young minds that are coming into your life and you don't know where they're coming from. It's not a, you know, it's not always informative of like what household they came from. But when you hear about some of their stories and you know where they came from and then they come and they show up the way they do, it's like rejuvenating because you have no idea until after, you know, they tell you. Sometimes they warm up to you enough just so they feel honored to tell you or they feel okay to share. And it's like, wow, I would have never known that. I would have never guessed that. And so, yeah, pushing
So
past the
like Mikeisha, where did Mikeisha go? I know she get the same thing. If you watch Mikeisha videos of her students that she worked with over at Howard, they love her. They
oh,
gravitate to her. Even on her break, they're following her
well,
on her break. But
she
she's
showed me
trying
a
to have
clip.
some me time.
Yeah, Queen of Hearts, she showed me a clip and it was like they were following her. She was walking and they were like, can we go with you? And she was like walking, I think, on her break or something. And they were like, we're going to go with you.
Miss Banks, we going too. Mikeisha, you have that same effect on them, girl.
That's
Oh
awesome.
man.
It's a gift. It really truly is. So I honor you as well, Mikeisha.
Mm-hmm.
I have another poem for you guys. Do you have the time?
Please.
Yeah, it's your world. Let's go.
Yes, please.
All right. So this one is I don't know what to name it. I didn't name it. I'm sorry. I did not name it. So here it is. Lost girl, it's not you. It's this world. Your soul's anew, trying to figure out and undo what has been done to you. Lost girl, lost world, dreams do come true. Untie the straps on your boots. Circle back these squares and triangulate that psychology. That's the real hustle. Ebbs and flows that could not unsee. Treat your lost souls cold, like COVID, epidemically. Omit, omit, omit. Intellect you see will help your world to grow. Thoughts turn cold, but sours your trust systematically, like Rockefeller. Fellas rock and roll out of time and trust, but entrust your soul. Like crystals gleaned from new moons and gain energy into galactic stitch in time that has lasting effects. Do not wait on this world to push you ahead. I will say it again for the ones in the back. Do not wait on this world to push you ahead. For the ones that couldn't afford the tickets on the main stage, segregated and keys only turn doors in the evenings when it's time for cleaning. Do not wait on this world to push you ahead. Do not wait on this world to push you ahead. The world's turn cold and they only see you in red, demonizing you and thinking you're meant for their bed. Do not let that get to your head, and pleasure's principles do not lie. Like roses, only thorns push to the side. Demographic would be tragic if we could just run and hide. Demographic would be tragic if we could just run and hide. Push past this perception and make it your life lesson. I'll tell you more about it later. And anyway, stay focused, and you cannot get around this. Like Katrina's waters flooding, your world lost girl, you have to go through this. Cross is red and FEMA could not undo it. Guarding nations and this damn persuasion, you have to go through it. Trust me, you have to do it. Hustle hard and work 10 times harder. Help your father's mother and brother's daughter. Laws red line and rights not civil. Colonize bitter lies, break this cycle into the generation of wealth on your back. Your soul is in attack. Push your heartstrings into sync. Enter your inner anatomy and make it a melody, like a crescendo of heaven's symphony. Playing absent auto-tune like Layla Hathaway, skitting and scatting, transcending her daddy and passing the baton from Sam Cooke to Lettucey. Let me see how Lauren would focus her tune and educate as melodies would flood our ears and push past our feelings into our inner being. Love you, and then reciprocate. Love you, and then reciprocate. Souls turn back to that. Us land on the rhythm freely, freely, not anything flat. Circle back these squares and triangulate that reality. Lost girl, it is not you, it is this world. The end.
Yes. Snap. We gotta get her some snaps. Yes.
Oh,
yes.
thank you guys.
She ate, y'all. She ate.
Oh. So this is one of the pieces that I was instructed by women in what is called Morristown Arts, the untold stories of storied people. And so we began this, what is called an artist consortium. And we were, and I believe Kaya Blue is on here listening in, one of the artists as well. We began this storytelling arts through my work at the Harriet Tubman Museum. I started working with people in Morristown, New Jersey, and I didn't know them yet, but they were looking for all of these artists from the state of New Jersey, and I happened to be one of them that they selected, and it was like a hand-picked thing, and I was working really diligently at the museum, but I wasn't putting my own work out there. And then when I tell you, these women really just pushed us forward, And we started working together collectively and doing all of these shows where after we worked with these authors and artists and people from all across the world, whether it was Zoom or we met in person, we met a lot in person. We had these hard stories that we had to write. And so this is one of the pieces that came from it. And again, I don't have a title for it just yet, but I may just name it Lost Girl. But that's one of those pieces. So thank you again.
Mm-hmm.
It's really cool because I've been able to just travel across the state of New Jersey, and a lot of the school districts allow me to come into their schools and teach my work through Harriet. So I've been able to share my storytelling, and working as the ambassador, I've been able to kind of push out myself a little bit more and be more free with the work. And I was nervous going to my first journey as the Harriet Tubman Museum. I'm sorry, outside of the Harriet Tubman Museum, but now it's like it's in me, and I have to let it out.
Mm-hmm.
That's so
Oh,
great.
oh, my
So I
friend,
guess
my sister on here, she said I should tell you about the piece I did on the playground. So
we see come.
we're on this ground, on these grounds is a schoolyard, but it's now a community farm. So what happens is they happen to allow us to do our pieces there, and our our director basically placed us in spaces where our pieces would make sense. So one of the pieces, for example, like I told the story, I shared this piece, and I was up on, those old school metal bars that you go all the way up to the top. And it's like, how they make them now, there's mulch underneath. But if you fall off of this, it ain't no mulch underneath. It's just ground, like dry ground. And so all the kids would play on it. And, the ones that you swing around, I don't know what the name of it is, but you sit on it and then somebody push it real hard and you swing. So those are type of mechanisms that were there in the playground. And so I climbed all the way up to the top because I'm a phys ed teacher. I'm a sports girl. So there's no problem. But I was in a skirt. I was covered. I was in a skirt, but I got all the way up there. I had my sneakers on, got all the way up there, and I had a headpiece on, and I did my piece up in the clouds. It was just like one of those moments that I never forget. And so those type of moments, we were able to have production basically of those type of spaces where one of the my sister on here, she was talking about her life's journey and psychologically how life could be really difficult, and she was on a tennis court while she told her story. So it's just like going back and forth with the tennis ball and going back and forth with the tennis racket and thinking about that, so it was very illustrative as well.
And shout out to Jersey women. Y'all got some fire underneath y'all, honey. Love it.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have any other questions for me? I'm like beaming right now. Could read more.
Yes.
Yeah.
You want to hear another piece?
Well, yes.
Okay. I can give you another piece. Let's see.
Let it flow.
It's engaging. They saying good work.
I have the one that I did. Okay, so this is a pretty serious piece, and this is really based on, it's called Black Lives Still Matter. I'm just going to go with it. Black Lives Still Matter. Ahmaud Arbery, Akai Gurley, Alton Sterling, Tatiana Jefferson, R. Rosaire. Your Black lives still matter. Both from Jean, Breonna Taylor. Can we talk about the way systematic oppression has not found them guilty? Your Black lives still matter. Colin Kaepernick. Thank you for taking a knee with your fists freely raised and afro ascending. Can we talk about freedom not being free? Black lives still matter. Does hands where I can see them, Miranda writes, restrain but shoot last, get confused with a knee to his neck? Is there a specific style of shooting that you have learned to use only on my people? Do you think carotid hold? No, shoot that. Black lives still matter. Emmett Till. Then and still, 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 still. Even when hatred still will not acknowledge us and the signs keep trying to rain on the movement, all must mean black. Pro black. Pro black is not an attack. Black lives still matter. Ferguson. Freddie Gray. Your black lives still matter. Fist in the air. Failure is no option. You, my black prince and black princess, have to be 4 times better. Place your credentials on the dashboard where they can see them. Come home safely, please, my baby. Black lives still matter. Gabriela Navarez, George Floyd, your black lives still matter. Janisa Fonville, Jacob Blake, you will walk. Jonathan Farrell, unarmed young black, your black lives still matter. Does it take a chokehold? I cannot breathe. Michael Brown, Michelle Cassell, Laquan McDonald, Philando Castile, your black lives still matter. Tamir Rice, Tanisha Anderson, Terrence Crutcher, Trayvon Martin, your black lives still matter. Sandra Bland, Samuel DuBose, Stephen Clark, Walter Scott, your black lives still matter. My soul weeps. My heartache is to capacity. Thoughts overtake me. Your black lives still matter. The end. It's like those type of pieces are hard to
She said pro-black
right.
is not an attack. Yeah,
Exactly. That part.
You've been an amazing guest, and we will be remiss though if we didn't shout out your daughter. Very
Yes.
proud of.
Yes.
You have to give her a shout
HINES
out.
Williams.
Mhm.
Yes. That's my baby. I'm so proud of her. Howard student, junior year. She is actually a bio major, chem minor with she's on here as well. So she said hi.
She said,
With a Spanish minor as well.
You do?
So wonderful. So thank you. Thank you for joining us, dear.
My pleasure.
Thank you so much. Keep the conversation going, or follow you on social media, or reach out to you. Where?
So I'll shout out my handle. I'm on IG at Crystal Hines 3217 at on IG, and then on Facebook I'm Crystal Hines. And they can reach me coming on down to the Harriet Tubman Museum as well. Come visit me. I'm there every Saturday, unless I have a prior engagement. But anybody who wants to come visit, I'm pretty much always there. What I do, I work 11 to 4, so I do on the hour tours. They take about an hour. And so if you bring yourself, bring your family, tell folks about us and get the word out, because we're a small museum with a big story. And it's the Harriet Tubman Museum of Cape May, 632 Lafayette Street in Cape May, New Jersey. And I continue to do the work. Furthermore, I'll continue to do the work in schools. Anybody who will have me to come to their schools, their churches. I've been to many churches and community centers as well. So it's about getting the words out and information out to the people so that they understand their history, that they would not, it's an African proverb. It says, basically it just says, Sankofa, don't forget your past. Never forget your past. Sankofa.
Ashe. And they taking donations, all form of donations.
And I have that tattoo, by the way. I have a Sankofa tattoo on my wrist. So,
Oh, I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
This
Mhm.
is so, we're so in tune.
You've been
Mikeisha.
a spirited and wonderful guest. We thank you so much.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
I'm
Mhm.
telling you.
I'm
I'm
telling
telling you, and the fact that my parents referred you to me, it that much more of a reminder that we are in tune. Let's stay in touch. You guys, if you enjoyed it, put some love. Crystal Hines was our guest today. I'm your host, Mikeisha. Wham Tam is the host. Queen of Hearts is the host. We're on the J King Network. Snitchy Smurf, thank you for all of the work that you do. Crystal, keep doing the wonderful work that you do. And we'll be back next week, same time and same channel. In the meantime,
you.
God bless you all, and thank you for your listener and viewership.
Thank you so
Good
much,
night.
everyone.
Good night.
That was awesome.